How you doing, guys? Today, I need a wet blast. So the little Honda car, the log splitter, and many other large items I have need to be sandblasted. And I'll try to cut down on the mess. Silica dust is dangerous. So the only way I would use play sand is wet blasting. There's no dust in wet blasting. So that's my theory anyway. I'm hoping to be able to use play sand. It's cheaper. However, I'm not sure about the dryness of it. So anyway, let's go to the whiteboard here and show you what I'm thinking. I have a tank. There's a little pressure tank off the boiler. It's up in the rafters of my basement, so I'm going to resalvage it. So I have air coming in, sand coming out. Now, air compressor pumping air into the top of the tank to force the sand down, pressurize this tank to help the sand come out. And this goes to the wand, and then pressure washer. Water into the pressure washer, water coming into the pressure washer. Should be water laced with sand. So the one thing I've thought ahead of, I'm worried about, is the air compressor. Only going to pump maybe 40, 60 pounds, whatever. I have to play around with it, see what works best to pressurize this tank. However, I see this little 1/4 inch outlet getting clogged up. Or it's a 1/2 inch outlet, my bad. 1/2 inch with a 3/8 hose, I believe I got. So what I'm thinking, I'm going to add another air line that comes down. It comes into the tank right here, just like a sandblaster, is inputting air to cause cavitation to let the sand move and be able to pump out of the hose into the pressure washer. So that's my theory, and let's go over and show you what I got to build this. Alright, so this is all the stuff I've gathered to put this together. I believe I have everything. This little pressure tank, I'm going to put air into the top, cut this off, hinge it so it flips up and down. We can fill it up with sand, open up, unclog it, whatever. Pushing out of the bottom hole. It's a 1/2 inch. It's already, the hole's already there and threaded. I got all my plumbing pieces here. I have an air dryer for the top of it. You have to try to keep the sand dry up to the point it gets into the pressure washer mixing with the water. Got an axle, some T-handles. This guy's going to be for to hold the axle. Got some wheels. So I think I'm pretty much ready to go. Just going to fire up the plasma cutter and get this tank cut up, and we'll get to work. So I got a cut open and took a look in here. Yeah, that's just, before I look, smacked it a couple times, knocked some rust off, and got a hole in the damn thing. So my boy Vance, the machinist, hooked me up with a new tank. Old air compressor. Comes with wheels. Might reuse them. We'll see. So we're gonna cut this puppy apart. I have to do a little bit more modifications than I planned compared to the other tank, but this will work out nicely. So all it cost me is trade some spare wire laying around. So let's get to work. So that's something to tell you about potential energy. Yeah, I never dreamed that that thing still had compressed air in it. And I don't know if you can see it, but this puppy, when it's flying up and smack that light, I'm gonna have to watch the instant replay on that one myself. Much better than the last one. A little bit of cleanup to do, but much better. Alright, so before I split this flange, I want to make sure everything works out, and I also got to figure out which way I'm going to hinge it. The handle that came on it is just super convenient and not to reuse. Put a couple pieces of angle here, the axle and some wheels. Showed you these guys cut a, not a union, but a sleeve. Threaded sleeve at an angle. Drill a hole in the top. That gives me the perfect inlet. And the other one that I cut an angle will go at the bottom for my outlet. I'm thinking that this can hinge off to the side so it clears the handle. Don't want the hinge here at the handle, or do I? So it comes up and hits the door and it can't flop all the way open. Alright, so I decided instead of putting another bung on here, I'm going to try to take this plug out, which I know is going to be a major pain in the neck. But they get bigger the hole, I can neck it down to possibly get the sand to flow better. All I can say is here goes nothing. All the fabrication is done. The hinge works great. Wheels, just a little stand. The bungs welded on. Now, one thing I was thinking about as I was building this, I'm going to have it operational before I actually clean it up and paint it. So I'm going to hit it with the wet blaster. Wet blast the wet blaster. I think it'll work out nice. Go back to the drawing board here. It's one thing I did not discuss. I am sort of worried with this tank full of sand that it's just going to compress it here with such only a half-inch hole in the bottom that it's going to get clogged up. So one thing I was debating is where the air comes in, what if I add another line and brought it down and injected it into the bottom of the tank? That way it blew air. Cause cavitation, which should let the sand flow better, right? At least that's what I'm thinking. Now, if it's possible, if it's not needed, I can always, shut the valve off here. shut it off. And also, the other thing I was thinking of as I was building that, I could always experiment with it later and actually inject water into the tank, and if I ever put it behind a massive air compressor, use compressed air to shoot the slurry that water and sand mixes and out. So please, by all means, any experts out there, or hell, even anything, if you have any suggestions, please leave in the comics. Did I say comics? Comments. I always look forward to good advice. So let's get the plumbing done. Alright, so plumbing, the air dryer here. We're going to put this up on top like so. We got air coming in through the air dryer. This is going to be my secondary air to blow air into the bottom of the tank, cavitation. So I do have to drill a hole, weld in a section of pipe to cause that cavitation to help the air sand flow better. Got a little flexible hose here that can attach this to the tank. This will be the control of the cavitation, unplugged so the hinge can work or not. Like I said, just a little bit of welding and plumbing to do, and let's give it a shot. Now, I really don't like those normal hose clamps, but I think I might be having to do it with this. Just connect these two and we're all done. Alright, so let's give you a tour. Alright, so my pressure cooker / wet blaster, actually no water goes into it, so dry blaster, addition tank, whatever you want to call it. I guess it could be a sand blaster. I don't know. The whole point of this is to help the flow of sand to the pressure washer. So we have the air coming in from the air compressor through here. Really regulate the pressure and separate water. Then we come down, it splits in half. So this guy pressurizes the tank. This adds some air down to this system here, which we can control the flow of air. And that goes in right at the bottom of the tank. That way we can cause the cavitation to help sand flow. And I mean, that's about it. I'm going to throw a hose on it and put it between the pressure washer, throw some sand in this puppy, we'll see if it works. Let's give it a shot. That singing is actually all the rubber. I just put really thin rubber in there to try it out, but all that singing is all the leaks. Okay, so since this puppy's leaking, yeah, it's just a little rubber roofing in there, so I went and got this. It's an anti-fatigue mat, really squishy, still pretty sturdy, and it's a lot more thick. So we're gonna put this puppy on there and see if she leaks in. Alright, so that old gauge went up to 400 psi, which I do not need. And earlier today I realized I had this sitting in the drawer, so I'm gonna put this puppy on there and we'll get her tested. Let's see what we get. Does seem like it's slow to build up pressure. We are coming up on 60 right now. 150 psi on there, which I'm hoping I don't need. Alright, she's up to 70 psi. You gotta give it a minute and look for leaks. This guy here, if it moves the wrong way, it leaks a little bit. Alright, sounds pretty good. So I think tomorrow I'll break out the pressure washer, and I got a couple bags of play sand. We'll give her a shot.
Wow!
Alright guys, so you can see here, I did this a little while ago, that's why it's a bit rusty already. But this is what I accomplished in a wet blaster. Took maybe 30 minutes. So, I don't know, it looks like they did 2 coats of this damn powder coating. Sucks. Yeah. So then I'll show you what else, whatever else, the other thing I blasted. Alright, so see the other thing I pressure washed, I tried to sandblast. See the surface rust already starting. And wait a minute, it actually worked. Pressurizing this tank to force sand into this nozzle. You got the high pressure water coming through here, and this guy right here. And get you in there. Let me get some light. It's actually, so what that is basically, I took a cap, the threads I needed, drilled a hole in the end, make the high pressure water squirt in. And coming in here was actually the sand under pressure. And then it comes out. So you got sand, the water catching the sand and coming down the tube, creating the spray. Now, works nice, did work. With a high pressure washer connecting here, basically it causes spray first, then the sand, and it catches in a sandblast. Does it work? Yes. Efficiently? Hell no. I would be 20 tons of sand and about $1,000 electric bill to run the air compressor and a bunch of gas to run the pressure washer. Not to mention that since I did this, Alex broke my pressure washer. Alex. So, I think I just got one word for this. Well, technically it did work. Not worth keeping this big thing around. And yeah, I got better plans for it, which will be coming here in a very soon video. So, like, subscribe, whatever you like. Appreciate you guys supporting us. Why we do it? Yeah, because we can.